And we are live. Hey guys, this is Ruben from Dubs Podcast Connection Loop. I have with me Chris from Intellis, and we're going to get into some topics. I think that Chris is no stranger to the idea of working remotely. He's run an agency now that's been remote for a number of years, so he's no stranger to this. We're going to get some great tips and tricks from him. We're also going to talk about the alignment of sales and marketing because that's one of the biggest challenges right now. This idea of smarketing, gone are the days where sales is on this side, marketing is on this side. Now, of course, it's all integrated. Chris, what is your take on that? What was the kind of paradigm shift to get companies to align their sales and marketing?
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing for me is noticing all of the time that gets wasted with salespeople. I mean, salespeople have a lot on their plate, and I feel like a lot of companies put salespeople in these roles where they're really required to do more than they really should be doing. And what ends up happening is salespeople waste a lot of time trying to convert leads that aren't qualified. Marketing is always complaining about, sales not nurturing leads properly, not following up with them in the right time frame. And then sales is always complaining about the quality of the leads that marketing is giving to sales. So I really believe there's a massive opportunity for a lot of companies to compartmentalize those roles and fill that gap between sales and marketing with a kind of a process like lead development, basically, where the leads, when they come into the CRM, they basically go through a systematic process of analyzing those leads, enriching the data, and getting them fully qualified so salespeople are optimizing their time and not wasting time on leads that are completely unqualified and not ready to buy yet.
Yeah, I'm no stranger to this idea, this concept of almost like a competition between sales and marketing sometimes, where I've noticed this, and it's really a toxic thing that can happen in a culture where people on the sales side think that marketing people are overly creative, and they're not focused, they don't have their eye on the prize, and they're not the people that are responsible for closing deals. And then marketing people have this idea where people in sales are just hustlers, and they're not appreciating the art of all this. And I feel like a lot of that is just gone now because all of us are in sales, all of us are in marketing to a certain extent because we're just communicating. And yeah, some people might have more of a responsibility to run a pipeline per se, but all of us are building a brand up, to a certain extent. So what would you say, the biggest sort of conflict story that you've experienced or have been a part of, and what did you learn from that?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to as far as giving you an exact story. I think it would just be better to explain kind of some of the things that I've noticed working with some of the clients that we work with. Can't really say I have a lot of stories that I'd like to share in terms of our personal experiences. Just because our sales and marketing team are so kind of blended in a way, like you're talking about this marketing. But I have noticed in a lot of other companies that, sales is basically on the forefront of dealing with the prospect. So they're getting a lot of the, difficult questions that basically the prospects have. And a lot of times that data gets failed to get given back to marketing. I feel like there needs to be a closed loop there between sales and marketing where with those questions that sales gets asked all the time, that they're feeding that data back to marketing, and marketing's using it to create better content, generate better leads. But really, I think one of the best opportunities for sales and marketing to get on the same page and eliminate a lot of that conflict, is basically with a service level agreement.
Okay.
So and really identifying and defining the criteria for what's considered a marketing qualified lead and a sales qualified lead. I know I got a little bit sidetracked there. This has been the first time I've done a podcast in a while, so excuse me for that. But
no, you're good, man. This is a safe place, and this is all about the stream of consciousness. Yeah. So you had me at MQL because I've gone through the whole process. I think HubSpot was maybe not the company that invented that term, but definitely they use it. And are you guys on HubSpot, or what CRM do you guys use? Or
so we are HubSpot certified, and we do work with clients that have HubSpot, but we personally use a system called SharpSpring.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so
They're
it's
optimized
very,
for
yeah,
agencies. Nice.
yeah, very similar. It's about a tenth of the cost of HubSpot, and they're really they have a really great agency plan in terms
Yeah.
of allowing us to use the system and offer it to our clients in kind of a different way than you're able to do with HubSpot. Plus, a lot of our clients, that have, I guess, a lot of our clients just seem to feel it's a more user friendly platform. They find it a lot easier to use than HubSpot.
Well, I think one of the inherent conflicts right now with sales and marketing is that a lot of the legacy infrastructure is built in a very separated fashion. There's the traditional sales platforms like Salesforce, CRMs, and then there's the traditional marketing automation platforms like Eloqua and Pardot and
Yeah.
Marketo and some of the kind of the OG players. And I feel like that's the first guard, and then the second crop that really came in is where there's more integration, which is HubSpot, SharpSpring. Not so much of a CRM. I think more on the
It
marketing
actually
side.
is. I would say it's about 50-50. It's about
Okay.
50% CRM and 50% marketing automation. It's really an all-in-one. It's a true all-in-one system.
So are people using SharpSpring to manage a pipeline, manage their deals, probability of
Absolutely. It
close?
has a absolutely amazing opportunity pipeline analysis report, being able to see the conversion rate at each stage of the pipeline. I love the opportunity health analysis report where when you can set a probability score in our probability percentage in the pipeline stage, but you can also set a minimum threshold for engagement. So we can create what's called an opportunity health report. And when opportunities go below that minimum threshold in terms of follow-ups, touch points, then salespeople get notified. We can set up automated reports so the leadership gets that on a daily basis, just to make sure that those opportunities are getting nurtured properly.
See, I didn't know that. That's news to me, man. That's really exciting. I think this is something that all agencies need to hear. That there's other alternatives to the super expensive platforms out there. SharpSpring is not only, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but not only is it marketing automation and a CRM with deal pipeline management, but it's also something that you can white label and have
Yeah.
your clients log into and then use in
Yeah.
that format.
Yeah, now we don't actually white label it. We're
Okay.
very upfront with our clients about the fact that we use SharpSpring. It does have our logo in the dashboard, and of course we could set up our client's logo on their dashboard as well. But a lot of the clients that we have that didn't have a CRM or a marketing automation system when they came to us, it was a great system for them. But we've also gained clients that have existing system that was either too expensive or frustrating to use. So we help them, solve that problem by evaluating their tech stack, finding the opportunities to improve it, and then in a lot of cases, not every case, but in many cases, our clients find it better just to have that all-in-one system. And we also solve that problem of implementing it, and because a lot of companies, they know they need to get a CRM, they know they need to get a marketing automation system, and they typically default to the most popular ones,
Right.
like Salesforce and Marketo and so forth. And they're great systems, but they're not always the best fit for everyone. So, when a lot of companies choose these systems, they find that, some of their biggest challenges is actually developing a proper strategy to generate an ROI from it, implementing the system, getting buy-in from the team, making sure everyone's using it, and it's optimizing all of the processes to make them as efficient as possible.
Very well said. One of my biggest complaints as I think about it is that what happens, I think, a lot of the times is that new entrepreneurs, new agencies, new kind of maybe small business owners, small business operators, people in marketing or sales, they say, "Hey, I need a CRM. I need a marketing automation system." And they'll type in maybe free CRM. Maybe they end up on HubSpot. Maybe they end up somewhere else. And then they kind of go through that journey of, hey, I'm on the free system. And then things start to happen. They start to get more team members and more success and more contacts, and they start to really kind of bust at the seams. And then all of a sudden, they start to see that they go on the pricing page of some platform, and they start to slide that little scroll bar over, and they say, oh, "I got 20,000 contacts now. Holy crap! I just went from $0 per month to like $800 per month. What just happened here, right?" And then all of a sudden, one of two things happens: either A, they commit to a large financial investment, and I've done that. I know what it's like, and I've had success with it sometimes, not always. Or they abandon ship, and then they have to start over in some new ecosystem on some new app, new platform. And then, of course, when they start to type HubSpot alternatives or Salesforce alternatives, SharpSpring does the best job to say, here are the alternatives. Here's an ebook. Compare us to all the major players out there. So many companies do that really well. And I think that that's a process. So the joke that we have, here at Dubb is that people are always frustrated with the CRM that they're using, or they're just admittedly in between systems. And a CRM is not supposed to be a sales prevention platform. It's supposed to be something that actually helps to manage.
Yeah, like a sales empowerment platform.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Love that. Sales empowerment platform.
So I'd like to speak to that for a moment, because a lot of people think about marketing automation. They think about just a bunch of automated emails that go out to prospects.
Yeah,
that's true. You can use it for that.
Right.
But I'm not lying when I say that we use more internal automation than we do prospect-facing automation. We found it more useful to set up automations and treat leads like real people. They're not just email addresses. So like when we first started out, like a lot of people, when they first started out, didn't know any better, set up an infinite drip sequence, Right. But then somewhere along the way, we realized, the importance of segmentation, the importance of defining our buyer persona, defining the customer journey, flagging leads as they come in on a daily basis, and bucketing those leads in terms of what types of leads they are. And then using the custom fields to gather additional data points, enrich the data. And a cool thing that we do with custom fields is we actually put automations behind the custom fields. So we have a workflow builder where we can build the automation, trigger-based automations. So we have it like when a lead comes in, we define it as a potential fit lead. We've tagged it to the right persona. We completed. We basically got it to the point where it needs to go to the next phase. We have a custom field to basically say missing info. So we'll have one of our VAs go, and so whenever I select missing info and click save, it triggers a notification, assigns a task to my VA. He goes and researches it, finds the missing data, puts it in. And you could do some of this stuff with automation as well. There's systems out there for data enrichment. So there's multiple ways to do that. But the point is, we use a lot of those custom fields in a way to trigger other processes internally to keep developing that lead through the process where they're fully qualified. And we treat them like humans. There's a point where some leads are so valuable, you're not going to want to just put them on a drip sequence with company newsletter type material. You want to actually take a very custom personalized outreach approach using a software like Dubb to, basically make a one-to-one connection with people and basically, speak to their pain point, understand their problems, and be a useful resource to help them, solve the problem they're looking to solve, especially when you've got multiple decision makers. Like there's as many as 6 to 10 decision makers now involved in the typical B2B buying process. So being able to, identify all of those people, segment them out, treat them differently, and then that for us has made a massive difference.
It's so well said, man. This idea of automation and losing the personalization as a result of it, and turning people into data. This is a problem. It's a big problem, I think, with automation, generally speaking. I think this comes from, complacency, laziness, greed. It comes from some sin. I don't know which one, but this idea of segmenting, leads based on, data, and then adding the levels of personalization that you talk about. I wish I saw more people doing that because I feel like that's the dream. And I love how you said that more of your automation is for internal activities than it is for outward facing, drip sequences or, nudges or stuff like this. Because that just tells me that there is that human element, but it's just intelligent. It's more intelligent in terms of how you are providing information. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it, it's when you say it, on what device you say it at, during which stage you say it at. So there's all these kind of factors which I think you're really addressing. So I'm intrigued, man. That's pretty cool. And then what exactly do you guys, as part of your agency, what is your value proposition? What do you guys offer?
So we basically help companies basically align their organizations with the right technology, processes, and people to optimize the entire customer life cycle. We help our clients just challenge them to think beyond just the acquisition part of the buyer's journey and think about the entire life cycle of the customer. So, we look at awareness, we look at acquisition, activation, and then revenue, retention, and referrals. So we go through the entire process beyond just the funnel itself and helping our clients really maximize the entire customer, the conversion rate in the entire customer life cycle, maximize the lifetime value.
And I'm very familiar with a lot of that terminology. I have, it sounds like I have a little bit of a similar experience as you in automation and going through this. And the thing that I always used to struggle with, and I still do to a certain extent, is that when I drop terms like MQL or life cycle stage or customer journey or omni-channel, sometimes I feel like I lose people because it sounds like jargon, it sounds too technical. I try to dumb it down sometimes, but then I feel like I'm trying too hard to dumb something down where there's some great terminology for it. So, what has been your take on communicating this idea of all those great things that you talk about, which is basically understanding where a customer comes in from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel and what happens during that whole kind of process? How have you learned to kind of communicate this and to make it easily understandable by people?
Okay, so like in terms of basically explaining that to the potential clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, so graphs help, charts, things like that, being able to show visually show each stage, but really just break it down by awareness, consideration, and decision as far as the all the way up to the acquisition part. Now, there's different conversation that be had about after the acquisition process, but awareness is typically where they're just basically your prospect is just becoming aware of the problem, realizing that it is a problem, putting a name to the problem, understanding the problem, and then, getting to the point where they're ready to start, looking for solutions to the problem, in terms of strategy and tactics and things like that, and possible ways to solve the problem. Then you get into the consideration stage where you're basically as a buyer making a short list of potential solutions, whether it be services, vendors, software, whatever you're buying. It typically they're making a short list of the different options, different buying options, and then the decisions phase is where they're basically comparing those solutions, apples to apples, and determining which one is going to be the best fit for solving their problem. Now, when it comes to content, a lot of companies, there's a little bit of some blurred lines there in terms of what content should go at each stage of the funnel. It varies per industry, and there's just big debate over gated and ungated content and all that. But I typically think of awareness content of like blog posts and articles, web pages that are related to the problem itself and informing the buyer, helping them understand the problem better. Consideration is like product pages, service pages, feature pages, things that talk about your product and how it can solve that problem. And then decision phase is, they're looking at things like, reviews and testimonials and comparisons. Like a good example is like when you look for project management software, you see it's very popular to see companies like ClickUp and Asana and whatnot, basically having these pages where they compare the two different solutions. So it's kind of the way that I think about those stages of the customer, the buyer's journey. Now the life cycle is different. You've got, retention strategies and things to like customer experience and everything, and making sure that your customers are getting full usage out of your product or service, and making sure that you're addressing future needs and things like that, and providing them with good service. And then the referral part, it comes down to basically under promising, over delivering, making sure that you're putting them in a position to give you feedback, so you can kind of open the door for basically asking for the referral. So finding out how likely they are to recommend you to other people, and then that could be accomplished through like a NPS survey, Net Promoter Score, being able to get their feedback and say how likely they would be to recommend you. And then I think that's a great opportunity to go in and basically get them to put their money where their mouth is. And it can be even incentivized, like giving them a free month of your software or whatever in exchange for a referral. I mean, it's a common tactic, but and then we got like other kind of like, growth hacking techniques inside the product itself. If we're talking about software, encouraging users to invite friends and stuff to basically sign up for an account during their onboarding process. And there's a lot of great tactics that can be used in the onboarding process to drive more referrals.
Yeah, I tend to agree with kind of the journey that you put forward. Ultimately getting to that evangelist, from like a lead all the way down, a paying customer, and then of course someone that's referring you to their friends and their contacts, even sometimes strangers. That's the power, I think, of a good experience, and we're always thinking about that at Dubb. We're always thinking about that. We could definitely do a better job to do surveys and to understand exactly where people had a positive experience or a negative experience. We also do a lot of the inherent referrals. I agree with you. I think that makes sense. I mean, either some people, they don't want to be compensated. They don't want to be part of the affiliate program. They want to do it because they enjoy the experience. Other people, they like to feel like there's a reward to kind of spread the word. So I think it's smart to just have those sort of multiple options so that people can kind of choose their own adventure, as long as they're happy along the entire way.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. So where can folks find you on social, on LinkedIn? Love to get
primarily LinkedIn.
Okay.
That's like my number one channel, mainly because we're so geared toward B2B.
Okay.
We work with a few B2C companies, but we're primarily B2B focused. So definitely really active on LinkedIn. So that'd be definitely the best place to connect with me.
Nice. And then how do people find you? Just give us full name, and then also give us your web address.
Yeah, so just our website is intellisagency.com. You can type that in Google as well and find us right at the top.
Nice. Cool, man. Well, listen, I really appreciate the time. It was great to have you on this. And the way that this works is that after this is all kind of produced and published and stuff, we actually cut this into smaller micro contents, and then we'll be sharing those on LinkedIn and some social channels. So I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Awesome.
Thanks, man. See you, Chris.
Thanks. See you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.